Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This weekend.
What?
This week at the round table of dim lighting. I thought we might be in the, this week in the table, but it's this week at the table.
Oh, okay.
I'm just thinking about this weekend, man. We got quite a weekend planned. This week at the round table of dim lighting, I'm gonna tell you something that's going to blow your mind.
Regarding?
Interstates.
Okay.
Unless you happen to already know this.
Well, that made a little bit of snot come out my nose.
And we're gonna cover, at least it wasn't as bad as the mashed potatoes and gravy that you got on your overalls.
Well, that's why I got
a moment ago.
That's why I got my bibs on.
What, are we dealing with things?
Oh, no, I just meant if you needed a tissue.
Oh, tissues.
No, I don't need it. I don't need a tissue.
Okay.
Just because I got snot coming out of my nose and mashed potatoes on my workwear bib.
Well, you know what?
That's what it's there for.
That's the purpose of it. That's why they're white.
Yeah.
So they'll show all the stains that you get on them.
Apparently there's some gravy on my taters. I want to talk a little bit about some fashion aspirations that I got.
Oh.
Not related to wearing
aspirations?
These white overalls, but I'll get to that later.
Aspirations?
Because I can't wait to hear about Interstate.
As
mind-blowing.
Unrealized aspirations?
Yes.
You need to slow down, man.
Yes,
Dang.
there's something that I want so bad, and I just don't know how to get it. And I'm so jealous of the people who have it.
Okay. One thing I would like to do quickly is just I don't want to revisit our quickie conversation, which turned into an argument pretty quickly the last time we were together on this podcast.
You don't want to revisit it?
I don't want to revisit the argument.
Okay.
I just want to give you, I just happened to, in light of
Why
our
are you
conversation,
opening this can of worms?
In light of our conversation, I was just like, I'm curious, right? Because again, just to not to resurface the argument, but we began talking about the aspect of quickies, and I think I mistakenly started by asking Link how long he thought a quickie was, at which he said 13 minutes, at which I said, what are you trying to prove? And then
and the truth of the matter is I wasn't trying to prove anything.
Yeah, and I you know what? I believe that is true. But inevitably, by starting the conversation with you thinking that a quickie was 13 minutes, I was left on no man's land, as is demonstrated in the way the conversation was interpreted. However, I now have some scientific information I would like to throw your way.
So you're bringing this back up again in order to...
No, I'm bringing back up because...
Like say that, like to prove that I was wrong? I just don't understand.
No, okay.
What's your motive?
My motive is that I was genuinely interested in what is the average length of penetrative vaginal sex.
Okay.
And has there been any research that has been done on this? Yeah. Okay, and so now...
Because I was on the record by the end of the episode of saying that like, we weren't even talking about the same thing.
We weren't talking about the same thing, exactly. So, I was talking about a quickie.
Right. And I wasn't.
And you weren't.
I was talking about a quick
sexual encounter.
Session.
Right, different thing.
Different thing.
And so when I was talking about a quickie, I was actually talking about a quickie. And so then I was like, okay, so what does the internet
You're trying to clear your name.
No, okay, see, so now I am gonna get defensive.
I just don't know why you're
not
bringing
genuinely
this up
interested?
Again.
Okay, so all right, how long do you think, what do you think the average for vaginal penetrative sex is? And this is, okay, so there's 2 studies that have been done.
Okay.
But there was one where they basically gave like 500 couples a stopwatch and said, we want you for a month to begin having sex, and I'm talking about the moment of penetration to ejaculation, okay?
Great.
It's not September.
Right. My answer is going to be 13 minutes no matter what, because I feel like now I got to die on this hill for some reason.
Well, no, but 13 minutes.
Whatever makes you happy, 30 seconds.
So, no, and according
20
to,
seconds.
On your chronological time scale, which is redundant, 13 minutes was your quick version, just so we understand. That's why I said, what are you trying to prove? Would you believe me?
I just want to go on record and say I am never trying to prove anything.
That's evident. How long do you think is the? You're not interested in this? No,
I'm okay. Yeah,
1,000 couples surveyed themselves.
Just in and outs.
How long?
Why are you doing this to me again? You're asking me to give a number. I can't do this. I don't do this. I don't measure things. I don't do numbers.
Okay, but so it might be interesting. It just might be interesting.
90 seconds. Does that make you happy?
Well, you think the average is 90 seconds?
My brain does not work in this way, dude.
Well, certainly you have a guess.
Like, I just gave it to you, 90 seconds.
Well, no, it's not 90 seconds. The average for vaginal sex was 3 to 7 minutes, coming out at an actual average of about, the second study, it was 5.5 minutes was like the thing that they actually landed at, was the average, okay?
Okay.
Now, so just to kind of give you, when I was thinking quickie, what I was thinking was, again, and then I looked up to make sure that I'm just not crazy, and so the sort of the generally accepted definition of a quickie is penetrative sex that happens without foreplay. Usually it's just a quick sexual encounter, and almost always, given the nature of the time frame, it is only the male who experiences orgasm, which, as I explained last time, inherently a selfish thing on the part of a man. That's why it is a very small part of the sexual pie, so to speak.
Okay.
For me, okay? But speaking of 13 minutes, I thought that you might be encouraged to know that the average time to achieve orgasm for a woman is 13.5 minutes. So
there you go.
Technically, when you stop 30 seconds short
no, that's
of
average.
your wife having an orgasm, it is I guess it's technically a quickie for you. But what I'm telling you,
that's my answer was that the quickest that we could both.
Yeah, right. Which is not the definition of a quickie, just, colloquial speaking or scientifically speaking.
You know what? You're so right. I'm so glad you brought this up again. I haven't thought about it once since we talked about it.
But hold on, but what
I'm just not once.
This is not interesting to you?
I'm so interested. I'm just saying I'm not invested in it personally.
Right, but you've been vindicated that a 13-minute sexual session, if you're both interested in achieving orgasm, is almost long enough to actually achieve that.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
So, if in Link's world, Link's definition of a quickie, which we'll just call it Link's quickie, okay, which also would be a great fast food
Let's
joint.
just call it a quick one. I think that's what we call it. Can we get a quick one?
Okay.
Can we get a quick one?
In which both people achieve orgasm. If you get to 13 minutes, you're getting close to that. But if you're going with a traditional selfish quickie, we're really saying
5.5 minutes.
You've got to be quicker than 5.5 minutes, because 5.5 minutes is the average length of penetrative sex up to orgasm. So
you're actually trying to
I'm not trying to say anything. I think that's the interesting thing. I'm trying to communicate the facts. You're attaching motivation. I'm not saying why I'm motivated to do it. You're attaching motivation to why I'm trying to do it. So when a scientist goes out,
I didn't say what it was.
When a scientist goes out and does an experiment and comes back with his results, is your first question, what are you trying to say, man? Why are you bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up because it's interesting. What can people learn from facts?
I'm glad he did.
So if you're lasting 5.5 minutes, and I think what they were doing is they were inserting and then thrusting continually.
Good.
Until orgasm, which is not recommended. You want to do other things.
Mm-hmm,
but so technically a quickie would be anything less than average, probably on the lower end of that. Because in the survey, what they found is that couples lasted from a range. Do you know what the lowest was? The lowest recorded?
Well, I read the article, I just can't remember.
33 seconds. So that's what I call gorilla mode, okay? We've established that that's what I call gorilla mode. They didn't call it gorilla mode in the article, in the study, and maybe they will the next time they come out with it. So gorilla mode is about 33 seconds, which like I said, It's not easy, but under certain circumstances, is if I'm potentially being attacked, if I'm protecting resources, that kind of thing, I might be able to go guerrilla mode and pull that off. And the high end of
potentially being attacked.
The high end of the average is 44 minutes. So that might be somebody in your family, you know, if so, because you're a 13-minute quickie man. Even though you did then say that
snail mode.
Then you didn't.
So
I guess somebody was able to continually thrust for like 2 episodes of the Kardashians. You know.
Well, they weren't watching the Kardashians because I just think that.
Is it a half-hour show?
I think they're attractive.
Is it a half-hour show?
I think it's in the 40. I think it's an hour show.
2 episodes of Seinfeld. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
22-minute show. So anyway, I thought I'd bring that up for science.
I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you did.
I don't want to go guerrilla mode on you.
So if you have quickie,
because guerrilla mode can mean other things too. It doesn't just mean quick sex. It also means beating your chest and then beating the hell out of somebody, which I'm not going to do that. Because they're vegetarians. They look very menacing, but they never harm. They don't harm a soul. They're also endangered. It's a serious issue. So how do you feel?
Interstates.
How do you feel about being enlightened? No, I want to save Interstates.
That's really what gets me horny.
I've got a story.
You should have lubed me up with an Interstate mind-blowing.
Oh, well, I've got a story.
Before you went back to quickie.
I got a story about something that happened to me, and then I've got Interstate facts. I feel like I need to hear something from you before I get into any of that.
Oh, okay. So you want to know about my fashion stuff?
Right after we let everyone know a couple of things. We're still in the midst of my birthday sale.
Which birthday
lasts a week.
Zone?
I think from the 10th through the 18th, we are, I am giving 10% off all first-degree plans and 20% off all second and third-degree plans to the Mythical Society. I'm going guerrilla mode on giving away discounts.
You have 30 seconds to join.
No, you have until the 18th of October to join. Take advantage. Come on, take advantage. Get in there on a Mythical Society. Lots of interesting things. In fact, something that we shot last night, which is why my eyes are so red, because we were just like, it was exciting.
We were screaming.
So scared.
We were so scared.
We may have announced it by now by the time this comes out. I don't know. But something very, very worth your while that we did with Stevie.
And I'm sore.
That made us, I'm sore too. Neck.
Oh yeah.
Stevie hurt her neck just while we were doing it.
Yeah. The jerking. It's all the jerking.
If that tempts you. Also,
MythicalSociety.com.
While it's my birthday week, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to remind you that the second single from my upcoming EP, I make music under a moniker, James and the Shame. I wrote a song about my wife. It's called The One I Love to Find. It came out on Friday. You can go listen to it. But also, I have made the physical album available for pre-order. So the vinyl, the cassette, and the CD. You can go ahead and pre-order the entire EP, all 6 songs. Unfortunately, you are going to have to wait until release day to hear all of the songs, but you will get a digital download of the songs this time. It's something I didn't do last time, but people requested it. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to do that. So you can pre-order that.
So you get the album, you buy the album, and you get the digital download.
Yeah, and then
when it hits streaming.
Right, and then when the different physical aspects are ready, the vinyl will take the longest just because of supply chain. But they'll come to you when they're ready. And there's also some merch associated with this whole EP that's available. So jamesandtheshame.com, which just automatically redirects to jamesandtheshamestore.com, but you don't need to know that.
Okay.
So
if you wanted to know it,
thank you for supporting
the
music. And I am signing some up to a certain amount. Oh. And then I stop. But I'll let you know when I'm doing that. I may have already, I don't know. I don't think so. No, I haven't stopped signing yet. Ear Biscuits is brought to you by BetterHelp.
You know, sometimes you know the right thing to do, but you just don't know if you have the strength to do it. That's like a paraphrase of a quote. That's a meme forget about it.
Right.
Anyway, I'm thinking about like having an interpersonal conflict. I'm not gonna give any specifics, but I know how to take the high road, but I'm not ready to take it. But therapy has helped me get there.
Well, that's because therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself.
We love therapy, we're huge advocates for it, so you know that we're all about making it as accessible as possible.
So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ear today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ear.
Okay, let's hear about your fashion aspirations.
I mean, how much stuff do you buy through Instagram ads? Like I'm just trying to
Quite a bit.
Like I think I've said this before. I'm on record, I think, saying that a lot of times I'll go on Instagram when I feel like shopping. And I'll just scroll through the crap that normally I would be on Instagram to see, which is mostly like camper vans driving through national parks. I think that's what my Instagram is mostly. And then and then genius lyrics. I think this is what my Instagram is.
Genius lyrics?
It's
you mean like genius.com?
Genius.com.
Okay.
And then, yes, a couple of mythical things show up. But I'm really just going past all that to get to the next ad. Because it's pretty good at showing me stuff that I think I want to buy.
It's pretty well targeted. I will say I keep getting ads for like legitimately 2 or 3 a day from that company that you have all the stuff from, and I feel like I can't buy anything from that company because it's
the clothing Imperfects.
I'm like, I can't do. I mean,
well, yeah, this is actually from.
I'm like, I can't get this stuff from here because
I pretty much own like
right
80% of what they make.
But I don't know how to tell them to stop. Now you don't. You do Todd Snyder? Because I'm kind of into.
I've done some Todd Snyder, but it's a little too dressy for me.
I found that Todd Snyder. To me, the fit is so important that I'm getting a lot of Todd Snyder things.
Get the tall boy.
But there is a lot of stuff that's just, I ain't gonna pay that much for a freaking shirt that looks like a coat.
Yeah, it's a little too New York for me, but I love it on you now.
Okay.
I'm gonna give, you know what, I went through that wave, it's not for me anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think it fits you.
Now, again, you throw these little barbs, man.
I throw the barbs?
You throw
I didn't throw
a lot of barbs.
On the other thing.
You get away with it because you wear overalls and you're cute. But I just want you to know that you throw a lot of barbs, but you get away with it.
We have to run interference on who our brands are. And I'm just saying, I bought some stuff from Todd Snyder, and now it's not exactly me. I feel like it's more you than me.
Okay.
But, and just, it doesn't have anything to do with any sort of wave or being ahead or behind anything.
Right, but this is probably when I need to announce my new line, Gorilla Mode.
You can dress up. Listen, this is a sincere. This is what's really behind this. I think you can dress up more than me, and it works for you. Like if I dress up, I start to get self-conscious that I'm a little boyish. Now, and I'm sitting here wearing some overalls today.
Careful now.
You know, I do have this boyish chip on my shoulder.
Well, I think it's a combination. A button up with glasses.
Yeah, there's something to.
It could be a little too buttoned up.
And Todd Snyder is more dressy. So I think that it fits you. You know, it's like you got the rugged beard and all the shaggy hair, and it balances out.
I don't look like I'm walking into a business meeting at any time.
Right. Even if you're wearing that stuff.
Right.
Right?
So but I look like a dressy lumberjack.
I feel like I can't do that. So I am envious of that. So maybe that's where the barb came from. I'll own that barb.
Okay, Barb.
But yeah, I'll still get their ads. I got some ads for some shoes. And, you know, shoes these days, the soles are getting so big. Yeah. And I'm like, do I? And then I'm like, I don't don't think I'm gonna get on this train. And then you see so many souls that you're like, what they look so comfortable. They really do. I'm gonna get some of these. I wish I had them on today. I forgot I was gonna talk about this. I wore them this, well, I'll get to this. So I saw these shoes. I'm not even gonna say the brand. And I'm like, I'm gonna get these things. And it's just so much easier to shop, first of all. Because right there on Instagram, you're just like sliding, and then if you know, left, right, whatever.
They make it super easy.
It's
Apple
so
Pay.
Easy. You're right, it's so easy.
It's too easy. It's too easy.
Well, shopping is just the bane of my existence.
I going into a store.
Like I just can't do it.
Oh God.
It's like torture. It's like bloodletting. You know, it's like everyone on the outside thinks it's good for you, but then when it happens to you, it kills you. Like I can feel the energy draining from my body when I'm walking through a store. And everything fits me. I'm not like you, where it actually sucks to shop.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know why you don't like it, because the thing I don't like about it is if I take 10 things into the changing room, one fits.
I know,
I'm
man.
lucky.
Listen, I'm sorry, dude. Can I touch your shoulder?
And you have to like put it on and button. There's lots of, and I'm buttoning up. You know, I'm buttoning because you got to.
So much
You got to
work.
do a couple of buttons at least to get it to close.
How many more buttons do you even have to button than the average person?
Probably one.
Oh,
There's probably just one extra one.
might be two.
I think they actually just spread them out. I don't really know. I've never thought about button counting.
Yeah, I do think they probably, because then proportionally, you know, you'd be like,
Actually, I think you can. No, I think it may
buttons.
be a new button, because if buttons are too far from each other,
he's gaping.
then you see into people's
Yep.
shirt.
Yep. You don't want to see a gaped nipple. You'd have nipple gape.
I'm not really that concerned about it, but it's not very becoming.
I saw these shoes, and I'm like, man, they look comfortable, and I don't have any black sneakers that really work for me, and you know what, I'm gonna get these.
Oh, the black on black I saw that you had.
The soles are brown.
Oh, but they're all dark. The whole shoe is dark.
The whole shoe is dark.
Which I've always interpreted as a dorky shoe. And that's probably my issue.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe it is, because I was thinking, I don't know if this looks cool, so maybe that's what
Makes it cool.
makes it cool.
Trust me. I got several things.
I do think these things.
I've got several things now that I'm like, I don't like actually subjectively like these clothes, but I think that they're in style.
Yeah, and that's no way to live, but we do it.
You kind of have to if you want to seem like you're not a middle-aged man.
I wanted to look kind of fashion forward, but it's gotta feel good to wear.
Yeah.
You know, it's gotta lay right on your body or around your foot. And I get these things, and the damn toe is all narrow, and I'm like, oh, my toes are being smushed. These are not comfortable. I bought them because I thought they looked so comfortable, so smushy. You know, it's not a Hoka, but it's like a rip-off Instagram Hoka, kinda.
Okay.
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 And the way that they're made, like it's almost like there's a sock inside of it. All these tennis shoes now, there's like it's like the inside there's a whole neoprene-ish type sock thing happening under there.
This seems like it might be a good idea, though.
It seems like a good idea.
You don't seem happy about it.
And I'm like, well, they squished my toes, so I got to return them. It's just narrow toe. And I tried to return them. They're like, you bought these on sale. You can't return them. And I was like, well, is that how it works? You can't return?
It probably said
It's like no returns?
It probably said no returns.
Yeah, I guess
you were
it did.
so good at shopping and so fast that you missed it.
So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this work. I do like how they look. They're growing on me.
Cut your foot.
I'm going to wear these shoes without a sock because there's a neoprene sock inside of the shoe anyway.
And how's that going to make your toes fit?
Well, there's less room taken up by a sock.
How big are your socks?
Well, every little bit helps, man. I can't return them.
Okay.
So I'm like, I got to make these work, and it's like a smooth material in there.
Is it removable and washable?
No.
Okay. I foresee a problem here.
And so I throw them on, and I already knew this was true. I can't wear shoes without socks.
You get sweaty.
Because my feet sweat. And I don't even have this like super ultra hydrosis of the foot. Like I'm like a normal foot sweater. There's some people who are like, their feet are sweating no matter what.
I don't know anyone. I mean, I see people wearing shoes without socks.
I'm so jealous of these people. And I know it's not that
sweating.
There's no show sock in there.
I think they're sweating.
It's like, there's something about, I don't know why, but I love the idea of wearing a shoe without a sock.
Well,
it's like the thing that I want more than anything right now, and I can't have it. The moment I put my shoe in there,
why do you want it so bad?
The moment I put my foot into
Feels
that
strange.
shoe, I was like, yeah, I think these shoes are made for that. There's a neoprene liner in there.
Well, I have an answer for you, and it relates to another ad that I
don't want your answer.
get.
I want your empathy.
Well,
don't you want to wear a shoe without a sock?
Well, yeah, because I have a pair of loafers that are coming in the mail right now.
Isn't that
a pair of like leather loafers? Because
and you're planning on wearing them without socks?
Well, no, I was planning on wearing them with my little no-show socks.
I know, and you're self-conscious about that.
Yeah, but when they don't show, I'm not self-conscious about it.
I
also get ads for...
I tried to wear the shoe with a no-show sock, and you know what it did? The no-show sock
showed.
Well, no. It bunched up. It went down over my heel and it's bunching up all down in there.
That's because you got a bad sock.
And it was the special type that's not supposed to do that. Because the sock-like liner of the shoe is so slick that it sucks the sock, it eats the sock off my heel.
Okay.
No matter what.
Do you get the ads for the cream that keeps you from sweating, and they have it for your hands, they have it for your feet, and they have it for your face? Do you get those ads?
No.
So I probably get the ads because, as you know, it's not nearly as bad as it was when I was, in middle school and high school, and probably into college, like, you think my hands are clammy now?
Oh, I know you had the problem.
It was, the reason I ended up getting that dry saw, you remember that? Because I was playing basketball and I needed to be able to hold on to a leather basketball and my hands would get so sweaty. Well, I'm
amazed, by the way, that back in the day, pre-internet, that you discovered this product and used it on your hands.
We asked the doctor. A doctor told me. I didn't like find the information in like the library.
Because right now it's probably an ad on TikTok.
So there's a new product, and I'm not gonna say what it is, and you probably get this ad, but like they're doing so much internet advertising. You know, there's brands that, like the ones that we've been talking about so far, they're just spending a lot of money on the internet and actually making good ads, and they've kind of figured out that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got a deodorant that is like a super hyper effective deodorant, but then they've got creams for your face, for your hands, for your feet. I don't know how it works. I'm assuming that it probably has, has aluminum in it, and it like clogs your pores and eventually stops the sweating or something. I don't know. That's why I'm not mentioning the brand because I don't know how it works. But they make it for your feet, and if you really, really want to wear something without a sock and you don't want to wear the no-show sock, listen, I got these loafers coming and they're so low that I got to get a no-show sock that's just barely holding on to my foot. Just like grabbing on both sides of my foot and just holding on for dear life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then I see the people, the cool guys who wear like a loafer. When I say cool guy wearing a loafer, I'm picturing that guy that paints the cowboy paintings.
Oh,
He's my fashion inspiration.
I love his paintings. I don't know what his.
He's way cooler than I'll ever be. Mark.
He dresses like a cowboy.
Mark Margotti or something like that. Can y'all look that up?
Yeah. That's almost it.
He's like I don't think
Western paintings.
I don't even think he's American. He's too cool to be American. But he's too good looking to be good at something else. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like too good looking to be that good of a painter.
Yeah.
And that good of a dresser.
Okay.
But it's really working for him. And I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. Margotti. Are y'all looking it up?
Yeah, we're looking it up.
Mark Margotti, painter, Western. You'll see a guy with like a mustache.
Maggiore?
Yes.
I'm trying to find an image of him.
Yeah. It's just.
Yeah, I
Just-
think I've seen the guy. He's like a
Mark Margotti style, like search that, and then he comes up and he's got like he
he's got
dresses
a windblown kind of a
pretty
bent.
masculine. You know what I'm saying? Pretty masculine, but he's doing the like.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, now the ladies have found him.
Hello. Hello, Mark.
Now look at keep your eye on the paintings.
And this guy's got style for days. Now he wears a lot of hats. I'm not really doing the hat thing, but it's, he's embracing the sort of like how things have gotten a little bit bigger. And so he's wearing like the pleated pants. He'll tuck a loose fitting button up into pleated pants. But then he's always got these loafers on. And I'm like,
Loafer.
should I do, I don't know. I'm experimenting. Am I going to do the loafer thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got some coming in the mail. Not here yet. Don't know what's up.
You thinking you're gonna have to buy some sweat feet?
But I'll tell you right now, I am 100% sure that he doesn't have no-show socks on.
Right.
A guy that cool.
That's what I'm saying.
But
There's something
if you pull his
about-
loafer off and smell it, what does it smell like? It probably
smells-
smells wonderful.
It probably stink.
But if
maybe
I
it's-
did it, it would smell like trash.
You know what? It might smell like the leather from the loafer. Maybe that's
You think
your
the
answer.
loafer? Do you think the leather overpowers it?
Yeah, the loafer leather makes your feet smell better. Maybe that's the
His
thing.
paintings are cool too, by the way.
There's something magical and seemingly unattainable about just the carefree nature of sliding your unsocked foot into a shoe.
Right. It feels like, why do I have this little teeny sock that feels like something from the future, like an astronaut would put on before he got into a suit? Like, why do I have these? It's not just because I don't like the way it looks when you see my feet. It's that it
It's
feels
the
like
connection with,
I'm cheating a little bit.
like, socks are for babies.
Right.
Shoes are for doers.
I doubt that this Mark guy wears underwear. Underwear is a modern invention.
Yeah.
Undergarments. They used to just have pants.
And they call it commando. It's like
Right, you're in charge.
it's like
When you don't have underwear on, you're in charge.
it's like they don't call it like sissy chafe.
right, yeah.
You
You
know?
don't want to be like, there's guys
Yeah,
in Hollywood who have like a reputation for like purposely not wearing underwear so they can just like make you look at their schlong in their pants,
the
I'm
things
not
you
gonna-
know.
Well, there's a couple of guys.
I do
There's a
know
couple of
about the
guys.
Justin Thoreau sweatpants
There's a Thoreau
thing.
There's a Thoreau theory, and there's a Don Draper.
Oh. What's his name?
Yeah,
John Hamm.
John Hamm.
John Hamm.
John Hamm. There's
He's
a
got
theory.
that-
There's a theory that Ham's letting it hang.
He's got the hang ham.
Again, I don't know if it's true. I'm just
I'm
saying.
not. Is this a slippery slope? Like first you're not wearing socks, then you're not wearing underwear.
I'm just saying. I think the purpose, the best reason for underwear is that you're trying not to like you don't want to give you the outline unnecessarily, But I'm just saying. I don't think that guy
that's the first
painting
reason.
paintings. I just don't think he's got anything. He's just got pants, shirt, shoes. That's it. Maybe a hat. That's all Mark's wearing. He's not wearing underwear. He's not wearing socks. Because it's just like, I don't have time for that. I've got to paint.
The thing that I've done with these shoes is I've worn them without socks a few times, and my feet have stunk. But every time my feet have sweat, but they haven't stunk
Yet.
So
Maybe there's
I'm
maybe there's a material in there that's because if you
Maybe I just put powder in the shoes.
I've got powder.
If I get some powder,
Odor Eaters.
and then
Not a sponsor.
I think maybe I'll try that because I just want it so bad. I
Hold
still
on.
don't know why I want
Have you
it.
dealt with the powder before?
No,
Okay, well,
it gets under your toenails and stuff.
it's you put the powder in the shoe, and then you shake the shoe, and then you look in the shoe, and you're like, the powder's gone. The powder's not gone. The powder has gotten into the crevices. You put
Okay.
your foot in there, and you begin sweating. Initially, the powder absorbs the sweat, and then the powder is like, I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
And so, like the next time you put powder in, and definitely the next time you put powder in, now the powder's like, we got to go somewhere, and it'll become like a little ball of powder
Ooh.
that's got sweat in it, and it's just little nasty little ball. And I think
One ball?
I think maybe it might be multiple. Because I've got a couple
Like
of
down there at the toes, because I don't have room at my toes.
No, so like hiking shoes and shoes I've had for many, many years that like I work out in and stuff like that. Those are the only ones that I have to do the powder in. And sometimes I look down there, I'm like, I couldn't put my foot into this shoe without a sock. I wouldn't dare. Because your sock keeps going in and grabbing the powder and pulling it out, and gives it a way out. But if your foot goes in, I just think that's bad news.
It's creating some sort of
Putty.
putty. Yeah.
I think it's creating a putty.
Ew, gosh. And none of this
watch out for that.
is curtailing my desire.
You still want
It's so strong. Like maybe I could just have the foot stink. I mean, I take a shower every morning. I do scrub my feet directly.
Yeah.
And my feet don't sweat that much.
Okay, well, you know what? Give us an update. I'll let you know when my loafers come in.
Okay.
But I wanted to tell you about something that occurred on my date night with my wife. There's multiple levels to this, so give me a second.
Okay.
Jesse and I went out to eat on our date night, as we do. We checked into the restaurant. We had a reservation that was made by Sarah, who's been working for us for a little bit here. And that'll be key in a second. So we check in, and the woman checking us in, the host, looks us up and says, date night. And I was like, okay, are we really giving off like married vibes this hard? They're like,
right.
Tuesday night,
Yeah.
restaurant, 7 p.m. reservation. We come in, obviously it's date night. So I just chose to take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Tuesday's also our date night, by the way. I think you moved to Tuesday, so we could sync our date nights.
Yeah, well, again, I make a lot of sacrifices. I didn't ask you to move it.
I think Tuesday is a superior date night. It's the least amount of people at a restaurant.
Yeah, because
Can't
mine
do
was
Monday because sometimes they're not open on
mine
Mondays.
was Thursday, and I do agree Tuesday's a better day because when it was Thursday, then the next night you also did something fun, and it was too much fun.
Too much fun together. You got to have early week fun, and it's easier to get a reservation.
Yes,
Now it feels a little less happening
I'm not interested in that.
if you're interested in that.
And so we sit down, and it was we put our order in, and it was like the waiter. Well, the waiter was kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? He was acting a little bit strange, saying things a little bit unusual, but he was also European, and so I
Yeah.
was like, okay,
Got to let him have it.
is this guy just European?
Could be.
Or, I hate to say this, is he a fan? That was the next thing I thought, because sometimes, okay, we've had the privilege of having enough people
Yeah.
recognize us for what we do that it isn't uncommon for a waiter or someone in a kitchen to be a fan, and then we find out. And one of the ways I usually find out is the waiter acts weird for a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the meal, they say, by the way, big fan.
Right.
And I like it when they just tell me up front, because I don't like to be in this, are you weird or are you a fan? And I'm not saying that, don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying that mythical beasts are weird. I mean, a lot of you are, let's be honest, but we are too. We embrace it.
Yeah.
Hey, you speak for yourself. I'm weird too. I just spoke for myself.
And so I just never know what it is. And I also hate to think this, because it is an incredibly inherently self-absorbed way to navigate the world, is like this person acting this way because of me. And so I don't even, when that starts happening, I'm like, I don't even like thinking this. So I'm gonna just assume he's a European guy. You know? He's just a European guy. And he says, would you like me to just bring the stuff out as it's ready? Or do you want to do it in a certain order? And we're like, as it's ready. Not interested in the order. And so he brings some things out. Now we had you
don't want to get your main and then get a salad, but obviously.
Stay tuned, friend.
Oh no.
So we had ordered this side that was a braised kale. It was sort of like collard greens, but kale.
And they can charge more if they call it that, I guess.
And but we also had an entree-like thing that was a big piece of meat that was obviously the entree. And somewhere in the middle of the meal, they brought some everybody's doing this pork belly. Everybody's got a pork belly course. And they brought it, we didn't order it. And so he sits it down and says, the pork belly. And I was like, we didn't order that. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he takes it. So then they bring the entree, and the only thing left is that braised kale. We finish the entree. 20 minutes pass. And then I tell Jesse, I'm like,
They forgot
about the kale. And it's fine because we're both full, and also it's kale. You know what I'm saying? It says like we want to end this evening on kale. Hell no.
Right.
So
right.
Then he comes up with nothing, and he leans down and whispers into my ear.
Yes.
Only. And he says, don't worry. There's something else coming.
Okay.
Then he walked away. I'm like, again.
You must have looked worried.
At this point, I told Jessie, she was like, what did he say? I relayed it. And she said, well, he's going to bring the kale. And I said,
it wasn't a kale whisper.
He didn't say anything about the kale. He said, something else is coming. And he said, don't worry.
Right. But you were worried about the kale.
And so I told her, I said,
you know when somebody's whispering about kale.
I said, he's a fan, or the chef is a fan, and they're bringing something else special. Don't worry. They're bringing, the kale is long gone.
Yeah.
Okay? 5 minutes pass, he comes back with the kale. My ego cracks, takes another hit. And but as he sets the kale down,
your ego was braised.
He leans in again.
Another whisper.
And he says, there's something else coming.
Don't worry.
This time he didn't say don't worry, he just said, there's something else coming.
That whisper I gave
So
you
then he
earlier
leaves, and
was
I'm
not
like,
in reference to the kale.
I'm telling you, see, there is something else coming, not the kale. He is a fan. Mm-hmm. First of all, I'm on a roller coaster ride at this point. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up.
Yeah. Are you European?
And so then about 10 minutes later, he comes back.
After you ate the kale?
Oh, we ate the kale.
How was the kale?
It's kale.
Okay, yeah.
It was as good as kale can get.
At that point in the meal.
But I knew there was something else coming, so I was willing to eat it because it wasn't going to be the last taste in my mouth. The last taste in my mouth was going to be this grand gesture of sweetness and appreciation of all the work that I've put on the internet. For all these years.
Have,
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I was the one there at that point.
Where's Link?
And he comes back and he sets down a dessert
that you didn't order.
Beignets with some sauces, and there was a candle in one of the beignets. Okay. And then he says, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And at that point, he said the thing I wasn't prepared for. You know, I was prepared for big fan. Or something like that. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for happy anniversary. Neither was Jesse. And then he walked away before we could say, it's not our anniversary. We actually don't want dessert. We're both kind of full. But you know me, I'm gonna eat it. So then-
I like a good beignet.
Jesse was like-
it's a donut that you can charge more for.
Well, here's what Jesse says. Jesse's like, we got confused with another table that is having an anniversary. They also had the pork belly, by the way.
Right.
And she says, we need to tell them. We need to tell them that it's not our anniversary because anniversary couple, they're not getting anything right now. They got jack shit.
Don't worry. You're not getting anything.
We've got their beignets. I've eaten all of them. By the time she finishes making her point. You know, I've eaten all of them.
Did you blow out the candle first?
Oh, of course. First thing I did.
It was lit and all.
And yeah, and so then I'm like, baby, we can't, no. I said, this is their mistake. You know, they'll figure it out. Anniversary couple will figure it out. And, but then we text Sarah because Jesse was like, did you tell them something when you made did you tell them that it was our anniversary? Because she's a little bit of a jokester. Maybe she's like, oh, they'll get something free if I say this. And then she was like, I just told him it was a date night. And I was like, okay, yes, you said it was date night. That's why the woman said date night. We weren't giving off the married vibes. And somehow date night got turned into anniversary, I think. That's my theory. But anyway, no one was a fan. He was just European. Nobody in the back was a fan. No one had any idea who I was. They just thought I was a man on his anniversary, date night. And I took full advantage. Don't know what the lesson was.
That was a roller coaster. That was an emotional roller coaster. Man, at least the last thing you tasted wasn't braised kale.
Yeah, it was really good kale though.
But you always got to say, the answer is always, well, I want this in the order. You know, it's like in the right order.
Well, I didn't think it meant we would bring the side 20 minutes after the entree. And I just thought it meant we might give you a salad and then get...
Why on earth would they even ask? Do you want this as it's ready? Well, yeah, because I want it to be hot. But then I also don't want to eat kale as dessert.
Because by that, if I had said yes, I would have been waiting 40 minutes for the entree just for the kale to be done.
And then it would have been cold.
Or I would have lost interest, you know? Would you like to hear about Interstates?
Yes, I totally forgot.
I don't know. I was fascinated.
You're gonna blow my mind about Interstates after all this.
Now, first of all, you, Link, and you listening, you may already know about this. I didn't. I never thought about it, and it was a little bit mind-blowing. Now, I got this information from a TikTok, as I learn everything from TikTok, but it was really from a YouTube
I shop on
video.
Instagram, I learn on TikTok.
It was really sort of a redux of a CGP Grey video. This is a YouTuber that does these explainer videos, very well researched, funny, informative. So you tell me, when I say something, you're like, I already knew that. Or no, didn't know that. And let's see how hard I blow your mind.
Okay.
Okay. First things first, east-west running interstates. Okay.
I have nothing to prove, and I never do.
Okay,
So,
all right. Listen, that's not what I'm asking. East-west running interstates always end in 0. And north-south running interstates.
Jenna, don't give me the answer.
Jenna knew that. Okay, did you know? And then north-south are always ending in a 5. Major interstates.
North-south always. Well, I know 95 goes north-south, and I know that 40 goes east-west.
Okay, so you didn't know either one of these things.
No, I did not know these things.
And did you know that the placement of these interstates is in a grid across the United States? So as you're going east-west, you're stacking horizontal interstates on top of each other, starting with 10, and then 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and they basically represent the percentage of the way they are across the country. So 10% across the country, 10, 20%. Now, it's not exact, but if like 90% of the way you're up north, they're not exactly to a grid like that, but that's kind of what they're going for.
And the same goes
5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 90.
It's west to east for the vertical interstates, not east to west. Well, I guess that's not.
Well, no,
I
it's
guess
like
that's
reading.
How you read.
It's like reading. So the number, it's just like a grid. It's like.
Well, I just have this predisposition because I always go towards the west because I started on the east.
But no, it's just like it goes up as it goes right and it goes up as it goes north.
And the country was developed east to west, so I thought that as
that
the
would make some sense.
Interstates were developed, they were probably because the interstate system didn't come about until we had gotten all the way to California. I guess not.
It's a
or
pretty
did they
recent
rename
thing. What was the president who did it? Was it FDR?
I don't know that either.
It was about it was basically for the military. It was about the military being able to get things across.
So you can kind of, if you're hopping on an interstate, you can kind of know Oh, if this is an odd number, or is it? Did you say fives or odds? Fives. Fives and zeros.
I've only scratched the surface, my friend. But the major interstates end in fives.
Okay.
Now,
because I know 85 goes down to Atlanta, but 95 goes down to Florida.
right. So most of them go all the way across the country. So like 40 goes from California to North Carolina, right? It goes.
And I always thought of it the opposite because that's where I.
And then 95, I believe, may go from Maine to Florida. They don't all go all the way to the farthest state, and then but most of them get almost all the way across the country. They make that trek. Sometimes because the country isn't this big grid, they'll like meet at a city. Like I think it's like 75 and 85 like meet at a city.
Okay.
You know. But there's one.
The only one I know after 85 that goes vertical. Well, I know the 5. I guess we know the 15. I don't know a 25 or 30, 35.
75 goes through Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, so I don't know that one.
Right. So 85. This is interesting because 75 and 85 actually cross each other. It's a weird thing. So 85 goes from Petersburg, Virginia to Montgomery, Alabama, but it also crosses over 75. And in one case, there is an Interstate 45 that doesn't even leave Texas. It goes from like 2 major cities and it's kind of at a diagonal, but I guess it could continue on forever to the north if you needed it to, but like enough roads go up there where nobody lives. Okay. Like I said, I'm only getting started.
So far, my mind is being
lightly massaged, like
lightly poofed. It's being poofed.
Like just breathed heavily upon, but not blown on.
It's not being breathed. It's not being whispered to. Don't worry.
The reason that was mind blowing to me is because it feels so obvious once it's pointed out, and you're like, well, of course that's the case.
It seems like I would have inferred it.
How have I lived and traveled on all these interstates? I've done the full 95 and I've done the full 40.
Yeah, but that's
actually in the same year I did both of those and still didn't realize it.
Well, that's because with either one of those, you never encounter another
one. Well, technically you crossed all of them.
You wouldn't have counted, if you're on 40, you wouldn't have encountered another horizontal, but you would have encountered all of the verticals, but, give or take.
But you would have not thought
even
about it
that little
you're just following a GPS and you're not thinking about what you're crossing.
Right.
But okay, again, I was just getting started. Those are the majors. Interstate minors are always 3 digits, okay? And these last 2 digits match the major, right?
Yeah.
If the first, so in other words, like you got 440, you got 540, in Raleigh, right? If the first—
But those are both circles.
No, they're not. If the first number is even, it reconnects back to the major. So 440, which is a belt line, but it also connects back. If the first number is an odd number, it's a spur and it does not reconnect back to the thing. So 540 actually doesn't connect back to 40, and that makes sense because 540 like goes down to Fuquay or Holly Springs and doesn't get back to 40.
You know what's actually blowing my mind at this point? The fact that you majored in civil engineering, you took at least one course, which is about nothing but traffic.
But it was traffic, it wasn't interstates. We didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about international. We didn't talk about national.
You did a whole course on traffic and you didn't talk about the interstates?
Actually, we had to, I think we had to engineer the 64 bypass as our project. But I was just like, that's the number. No one talked to us about that.
Right.
Okay. So those are the minors, but
540 is eventually going to be a complete belt line around Raleigh.
No, it's not.
North Carolina. So
no, it's not.
I thought that was the plan, and then they're going to have to change it from a 5 means it never connects.
So there,
back
as is always the case with everything, there are exceptions to every single thing that I'm saying. So yes, there are some evens that reconnect. And I don't know if it means that if 540 does eventually connect back to 40, they'll change it to 640, but they might. I don't know how it works. That's a lot of signage you got to update. But technically, they plan, when they put even an odd number, they are planning for this to be a spur and to not reconnect.
Okay.
But I'm still not done. There, of course, are duplicates of these things because all along 40, you've
Right.
only got 9 different ways to go off of 40. And you've got all these states you're passing through, so there's gonna be multiple 540s throughout the nation, right? And in some states, there's like CGP talks about this in the video, but like I think Maryland has like every 95 except 995 or something. It's like, oh, you could have just added one more and you would have had it. Okay. Now,
And Jenna, you're not surprised by any of this? You're like,
she knows it. She knows it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
figured she would.
I'm not. My dad trained me how to find my way around without GPS. He'd get me lost on purpose when I first started learning how to drive, and be like, "Find your way home." And
This is such a dad thing to do.
so I know all about, like, that's why 405, 405 is going to come back to the 5 at some point. Like, yeah, that's why out here people are so surprised when I don't have my GPS on when they're in the car with me. Like, how it's like, oh, well, I know where I'm going. I'm going this way.
Right. And the thing is that this is not only somewhat useful in modern times, but this would be
End times.
very useful in the end times.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
if there's
let me
a
ask-
When
huge
you gotta get across the
earthquake in
country-
LA, if there's a huge earthquake in LA, I know exactly what I need to do.
Right.
I know exactly all the roads.
You know
So,
exactly
back
where you're
to
at
your
in the
dad.
country.
Would your
Yeah, back to my
dad?
dad, yeah.
Would your dad just drop you there, and then would there be? And then he would leave, or would he just be silent in the car?
He'd be silent
And
in the
would you-
car.
okay,
Yeah,
and
it
would
was
you be
when my
blindfolded?
brother. No, it was when my brother and I we had our learner's permit. So like because we're twins. So my brother would be in the back seat and I would be driving, and my dad would be in the passenger seat, and he'd just be like, "All right, find a way home." And he'd just sit there and would only yell at us if we made like incorrect choices in like our braking or accelerating. But
It's
he
smart,
just
man.
let us get lost if we
And
got.
you didn't know that he was going to do this. It would be like at random times.
Yeah, it would be at random times. He'd say, "We're going on an adventure. Let's find a new way home. Find a different way."
So
So I'd have to learn different ways.
you had to learn you learned to be very vigilant while you were riding in a car.
Yeah,
It's like, I mean, my
Yeah.
kids. Yeah, it's like.
Oh, their brain is off.
Whenever they got their license, of course they just start. I had to. The most dad thing I did was teach them where to put the phone with the GPS on it so that it wasn't unsafe. Like I felt like I was doing my dad-ism
Yeah.
at that point. That's the best I could conjure.
it definitely helps. I when I went camping once, because I am vigilant, and even if I have the GPS on going to a new location, I still kind of look around. I'm like, oh, okay, this is here, this is the road, blah blah. And I was leaving this campground once, and none of my stuff was working. Zero. Couldn't figure it out, and I literally just retraced my steps. And it was like 3 days after I had done the route. And I just literally just retraced my steps, and it took me about 45 minutes to get service back. And
Wow.
I just, I just went back the way I came that I remembered.
Now, the one thing I do know about Interstate is that the mile markers are markers every mile.
Yeah.
Smart, Link. That's smart. Okay, last piece of information here. So I've given you the majors and the minors, right?
Yep.
There's interstate mediums. So these are numbers like 64, 29, and those
I thought those are just highways.
well, I didn't say Highway 64. I said I-64 or I-29.
Okay, yeah.
Interstate. You still have to have the I. It's still an interstate. It still has the little blue and red with the crown at the top. So I'm not talking about Highway 64, which is like the black diamond.
Yeah.
Interstate 64 or Interstate 29, they would fall in sequence. So 29 is going to be between 25 and 35. But because it's a 9, it ends in a 9, it's going north-south. If it ends in an even, just like the majors, it's going to go east-west. So the odds and the evens always correspond to which direction they're going. But then that first number, 29, it would be the 2. Okay, we know that that's going to be between 35 and 25. 64, I-64 is going to be between between 60 and 70.
But they reserve it for shorter interstates?
Yes, and there are many duplicates of these because now, so it might be that like all along this little corridor in between 35 and 25.
Right.
You would have the option for a 29, but it might be, well, there's a 29 here, and then you go a few states and there's another 29 here. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to be connected.
Gotcha.
And these are, according to that YouTube video, these are all in the same sequence except for 99. I-99 apparently ends up being, I guess it would be to the west of 95 instead of the east of 95 because it feels like it would be almost all the way. It would be like right along the ocean. Interestingly, the highway that is on the ocean, they call it Highway 1, but that's different because it's not it's not I-1
right
in California. But it was almost like they were kind of like, it was like an homage to the numbering system because it was a 1, right? Just found that interesting. Because isn't it Highway 1?
Yeah, but does it go interstate?
I don't think so. But interstates don't have to go interstate. They can be intrastate like the one, like 45 in Texas. So anyway, man, I just blew your mind.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely breezed it. You definitely breezed it. It's fresh.
Now that when you see the
foot's
interstate
out of the shoe
and the number, you can be like,
fresh.
there is a convention. There is a reason for this. That, again, isn't always followed, but there was some intention behind it. It's just not random. So during the zombie apocalypse, you will be able to like traverse, across the nation and know like, oh, okay, we just ran into 65. Let's go left to go north on it.
It's interesting to be living, breathing, and navigating within something, and then realizing that it all makes sense on a continental scale.
Well, it doesn't make too much sense.
But it makes more sense than nothing.
It's a lot like the English language. Oh, there are plenty of exceptions.
I'm just saying.
We did our best.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't blow my mind, but you strangely gave me a sense of comfort.
Okay.
And that's really what I value.
So I can go drop you off in the middle of nowhere and be like, find a new way home from Kansas.
I'm never leaving home without Jenna. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Just take me on all road trips. I know where to go.
Well, it's kind of in the job description.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, guys. Yeah. How many throwbacks can I make at the end of this?
Well, we need a rec from you.
Oh, my recommendation, I totally forgot what it was. What was it? At the top of this thing. Talk about shoes you can wear without socks. Of course, not a sponsor, but this, I got these flip-flops. They're called Archies. Australian-based company.
Is that what you're wearing?
No.
Okay. They're actual flip-flops.
They're flip-flops that support your arch in a way that I am addicted to wearing these. I wear them in the house. They're my house shoes because they're good for my feet. And my physical therapist sold me on them because, if your foot is not pronating, if it's leaning in and you don't have enough arch support, then it messes up your alignment for everything. At least that's what they say. But I'd worn these things to the point where they're virtually indestructible. But I wore them so long and so hard that I finally popped the flip-flop. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. And I gladly bought another pair.
The thong popped?
Yep, the thong popped, but it's been a couple of years of literally wearing these things every day. And they're just really, I got flat feet, so they're good for the feet, and there ain't no sweating in a flip-flop. But if you're gonna wear a flip-flop all the time and you don't want to be in your middle-aged plantar fasciitis stage,
That'll ruin date
get
night.
yourself some Archies. I can vouch for these puppies.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us for another Ear Biscuit. Remember that you can take part in the conversation yourself by leaving us a voicemail at 1-888-EARPOD1. And also, you can join the conversation online with #EarBiscuits. We always appreciate that.
Bye for now.
I have to say, well, first of all, it's Ashley from San Luis Obispo, California. And I had to say that I haven't even gotten to the important part of the most recent episode of Your Biscuits. And Link's talking about his dream about fighting Rhett. And I just love that they're both like, oh, it's never happening, and then proceed to immediately get into an argument about who would win. That's Rhett and Link for you. Thanks, man. Love you guys.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.